It is often observed that those who wake up earliest, work hardest, and maintain the strictest discipline are the ones who remain sustainably poor. Look at a street intersection at 5 in the morning. You will see the figures of street sweepers, oversized delivery carts, and gaunt faces haggard from a lack of sleep. They sell their labor at a price so pitifully low, it is heartbreaking. In contrast, those sitting in ivory towers with wine in hand preach morality, yet they never let a single drop of sweat fall upon their marble floors. The paradox lies in the fact that society constantly drones on about how diligence compensates for intelligence, or how one must grind iron to make a needle. However, reality delivers a cruel slap to the face of those who believe it. Mere effort is nothing more than fuel to be burned in the furnace of someone else's profit. Hard work without the leverage of a strategic mindset is like trying to run fast on a treadmill. Your sweat pours like rain, but your position remains exactly the same. The essence of this game has never been about who does more, but about who creates a value that is harder to replace. An excavator digging for 1 hour equals 100 laborers toiling all day. Why bother paying those 100 men when one only needs to pour fuel into a machine? The operating laws of the capitalist world, or any social form, always boil down to optimal efficiency. Emotion, morality, and pity are merely sugar-coated shells used to hide the bitter pill inside called profit. When a new tool emerges with the ability to work faster, cheaper, and more accurately, the old tool will be tossed into the dustbin of history without mercy, no matter how loyal or dedicated it was. That is not cruelty. It is the cold evolution of economic flow. The milestone of 2026 looms like a towering black dot on the timeline. It is a place where artificial intelligence is no longer just naive chatbots or clumsy photo editing software. It is the singularity, the point where the boundary between human creativity and machine algorithms is blurred or even completely inverted. Imagine a world where writing skills honed over 20 years are defeated by a prompt entered in 3 seconds. Artists who spent their entire youth learning to blend colors and build compositions now stand frozen, watching a software program draw masterpieces in the blink of an eye at a cost of nearly zero. Programmers who once took pride in being the new elite suddenly realize that the lines of code they painstakingly typed all night can be cleaned and optimized by a machine. It makes no syntax errors, it needs no coffee to stay awake, and most importantly, it never demands a raise or vacation time. Reality is unfolding more brutally than the crowds deluding each other over morning coffee. Salaried employees, desk-bound professionals, and content creators are standing on the edge of an abyss while still imagining they are at the peak of their careers. They still believe that human emotion is something machines cannot mimic, or that the soul of a work is the shield protecting them from obsolescence. How utterly naive. The masses out there, the consumers, do not care about the soul or emotions of the creator. They only care that their needs are met the fastest, cheapest, and most attractively. If an algorithm can write a love song that makes millions weep, or paint a picture that gives the viewer shivers, who will bother to check if the author is flesh and blood or lines of binary code? The exchange value of a human, which is the only thing that gives them the right to bargain with life for food and clothing, is inflating to the point of worthlessness. When professional skills become a mass-market commodity that anyone can possess through a subscription account costing a few dollars a month, professional pride becomes a joke. Degrees, certificates, and decades of experience suddenly turn into scrap paper. In that world run by optimized algorithms, humanity is divided into 2 distinct types. It is not rich and poor in the old sense, but those who own the means of data production and the useless class. The first group consists of those who own the algorithms, the servers, and the colossal data sources used to feed these artificial brains. They are the new masters of the world, holding the power of life and death and the power to dictate the rules of the game. The second group, accounting for the vast majority, are those who once sold their skills to survive and now have nothing left to sell. Manual labor was lost to mechanical machines in the last century, and now mental labor has been lost to algorithmic machines. What do they have left to bring to the marketplace of life? The answer is nothing at all. That is the terror of the 2026 singularity. When you no longer have exchange value, you lose the minimum right to negotiate for survival. Society will no longer need you to operate the gears. Previously, capitalists needed workers to run machines, staff to write reports, and artists to draw advertisements. The relationship of exploitation was at least based on mutual dependence. But when AI completely replaces the human role in the value chain, that dependence snaps. Humans become a burden, redundant beings consuming resources without generating surplus value. At this point, promises of social welfare or universal basic income are merely temporary painkillers to prevent riots. They do not solve the core issue, which is the loss of the meaning of a human life in the eyes of the economic system. Looking deep into high-walled glass office buildings where lights still burn day and night, one can see a panicked flight in silence. Senior personnel are beginning to worry feverishly. They try to learn how to control AI, deceiving themselves that it is just a support tool. But the truth is, this tool has the ability to self-learn, self-upgrade, and eventually self-operate. Teaching employees how to use AI is no different from teaching a tiger how to hunt and then hoping it will obey you forever. At some point, the tiger will realize it no longer needs the trainer. Mass layoffs under the labels of restructuring or optimizing the apparatus are actually the process of purging obsolete human components to replace them with more efficient silicon microchips. There is no sound of gunfire and no bloodshed. There are only cold termination emails sent at midnight, and by the next morning, the keycard no longer works. The once flat world is now erecting invisible walls more solid than reinforced concrete. It is a wall separating those who hold the algorithms and those who are dominated by them. Those who do not own proprietary data and who have no real assets like land, factories, or energy will slide down to the bottom of society. They will become digital slaves, living off meager subsidies and spending their days consuming trash content created by AI. That very act of consumption generates the data that further fattens the system ruling them. It is a perfect and ruthless closed loop. The freedom humans have long praised will shrink to nothing more than the freedom to choose what to watch on a screen, while the power to decide their own destiny was stripped away long ago without them even noticing. Do not dream of a revolution to overthrow the machines like in a science fiction movie. Humans are too weak, too fragmented, and too easily manipulated by the very algorithms that understand them better than they understand themselves. AI knows how to stroke the ego, how to trigger anger, and how to lull one to sleep with virtual comforts. It will not destroy humanity with force. It will cage humanity in a cage of convenience, turning them into biological batteries, providing data and attention. Skills practiced for a lifetime, like playing an instrument, singing well, calculating fast, or arguing sharply, will become mere entertainment for dying parties rather than tools to earn a living. The value of a human will not be measured by what they can do, but by what they own. If you do not own the means of production in the digital age, you are a literal zero. The 2026 Singularity is not a prophecy of the apocalypse, but a death knell for the era of skilled labor. It marks the absolute shift of power into the hands of the minority who hold the intellectual infrastructure. Dreamers are still shouting about AI ethics and controlling the development of technology, but history has proven that profit always stays one long step ahead of morality. No one stops when a gold mine is exposed before their eyes, just because they fear getting their hands dirty. This race has no referee and no finish line. There is only the fastest runner who takes all, and those who fall will be trampled without mercy. Accept it. The law of survival has never changed. It has only donned more sophisticated new clothes. In the old days, the strong were those with muscles and swords. Today, the strong are those with data and algorithms. The weak of the past were enslaved and their physical strength exploited. The weak of today are stripped of their value and turned into excess people. To survive this technological deluge, there is no other way but to shed the salaried employee mindset and abandon the naive belief in social fairness. You must find a way to squeeze into the owning group, even if it is just a tiny fragment. You must learn to make AI your slave before it makes you its pet. Either hold the handle of the knife or hold the blade. The choice lies in your lucidity right now, while the strings of interest are still being pulled silently in the dark. before the velvet curtain of life's stage falls and the tragic comedy of humanity enters a new, more brutal chapter.